Okay, so boom, so like I know I don't need more shoes, but I can explain this one. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, and in today's video, bring you guys another sneaker pickup video. I've been having a lot of fun doing these videos, and those of you who've been watching them, y'all seem to really enjoy them, so I'm gonna keep on putting them out because it's something that I enjoy doing, something I enjoy talking about, and for better or worse, and if we ask my bank account, for the worse, I always got new pickups coming in, man, and this is one that's not a recent release. This one's not like something that's brand new. This is actually a pickup I got off eBay, so we ain't even gonna waste no time. We can just go ahead and get straight on into the pickup. So like I said, this isn't a sneaker that just recently released like in the last couple of days or weeks or so, or even the last couple of years for that matter, but this is a shoe that I do not currently have in the collection that I needed. Now I don't know how I'm thumbnailing and titling this video just yet, so I don't know if y'all already know what's in this box. I of course know what's in the box, but maybe y'all can be a bit surprised. I don't know. That's for future me to figure out. But in this box, I do have a package that got delivered earlier today from eBay. You know your boy's always hunting for them deals and them steals on eBay, man. Like I said before, I'm the king of lowballing people on eBay, man. When I find something I want, or when I decide that there's something that I want, whether it's sneakers or video games or whatever the case is, because I know I collect all types of things, I look for the best deal that I can find. And once I found the best deal I can find, if they got that best offer button, I'm going lowball, and you'd be surprised how often those offers get taken. But in here we do have, you know, what you're presented with, that usual regular eBay packaging. Meet your soulmates, and the authenticity guarantees that you can rest assured that what you are receiving is actually authentic. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who they got doing legit checks over at eBay. I don't really know how much we're supposed to value and trust it, but I mean, they're probably just as good, if not better, than I'm a legit checker these days. Once upon a time, your boy was actually a solid legit checker back in my prime, so to speak. But these days, we kind of just, I leave it up to the professionals. Also, this box is not, at least I don't think this is the correct box for what the sneaker is in question. Oh, right, I forgot. These did not come with the original box, so this is in fact a replacement box. I forgot that these weren't actually going to come with a box at all, but as noted by the seller with a sticky note here on the side, buyer, that would be me, I am buyer, did request a replacement box. If I could go ahead and get that to focus. Buyer requested a replacement box. So I don't know what shoe this box was originally for. It's interesting because it is somewhat similar to what the box I think for these is supposed to look like. Not really, but this angle just kind of make me, let's just go ahead and get into the shoe shop. So I'm gonna just go ahead and take that off. Does this give me any indication of, I don't know, the original size label is kind of torn off, so I can't really make out what this used to be. But go ahead and house that to the side, and here you do have the authentic, without a doubt, little card that comes in here, but we won't be needing that. In this box, I have a sneaker that I've owned multiple times before. I've owned multiple versions of the sneaker before, and up until recently, I did have this colorway, not this retro, not this release, but I had this colorway, but I sold mine, and well, I immediately turned around and used that money to replace them. So let's just go ahead and take a look, see what we have. Is there, how do you even open this box? I've never seen this box before, and inside we have, ooh, wouldn't you like to know? In this box, we do have a pair of, bang, a new pair of Space Jams for your boy. Well, I say new, they're used, you know what I'm saying? I personally don't have anything against purchasing used sneakers, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and do my whole wipe them down, clean them, disinfect them, the whole nine. Maybe I'll even do that in this video. That might be something that y'all could be interested in. I don't really know if y'all have a lot of interest in seeing my process of what I do when I get new used shoes in, but yeah, man. Here we have a pair of the 2016 retro of the Space Jam Jordan 11. So let's just go ahead and get these out of the box. If you guys have been keeping up with me and the channel, you guys will know that I did own a pair of the 2000 Space Jam 11s, right? And the 2000 retro was actually the first time the Space Jams ever actually released. A lot of people mistakenly believe that the Space Jam 11 is an OG colorway that released in 1996. That's not actually the case. I think I spoke about this in the Concord 11 video, which the Concords that I picked up, you can see back all shining, glistening, glossing, dipped, and butter, looking clean. I was saying them boys cleaned up nice, by the way. But the Space Jams never came out in 1996. The movie Space Jam, you know, I want to say released in 1996, and in that movie, Michael Jordan wears a pair of these, but it's actually not these. It's actually a pair of Concords that are black. And when I say Concord, the Space Jams, the Jumpman is blue. On the Concords, it's Concord purple. And so the 11s that Mike wore back then were actually the black Concords, but you know, due to maybe limitations with technology and the colors and the way it showed up, whatever, it looked blue. And so eventually this shoe got dubbed the Space Jam after he wore them in the movie Space Jam, and they released them in the year 2000 as Space Jam 11s. And then on the tongue tag, you had Jumpman Jam as opposed to Jumpman Jordan like the other 11s. And yeah, so that's a little history lesson there. I think, like I said, I'm not gonna go too in depth with it because I did all that in the Jordan 11 video. But yeah, man, here you can see we've got the little eBay authentic guarantee tag that it comes with. This is somewhat akin to like what StockX does. But let me go ahead and give the shoes a little look over because for one, I've never owned this retro. I've had the 2009 retro a few times. Like I said, I had the 2000s, and all things considered, these look to be in pretty good shape. They could definitely use just a little bit of elbow grease, but I could definitely clean these up and have these looking brand spanking new. I'm liking what I'm seeing. So real quick, what I'm gonna do first things first is I'm just gonna take my handy dandy little blade here and just chop this tag off, because I don't like rocking the tags on my sneakers. I know that's something that some people like to do. I'm not one of those people. No StockX tags, no eBay tags, no Nike Air hang tags. Those will not be seen worn on my foot. That being said, here we go, y'all. We have the 2016 Space Jam Jordan 11. Now, as you can see, these are in pretty good shape. You know, maybe some light scuffing on the patent leather, but still pretty shiny. And the soles, actually not too bad, man. As y'all may or may not know, I've mentioned in some of my videos before, I actually do have an indoor setup where I can reverse the oxidization and icy soles back up. When we got the Concord 11s in, I was like, let me just go grab the Concords real quick. Yeah, them things are sitting pretty. Woo-wee, them boys is icy. But yeah, when I got these in, you know, they were already in pretty good shape. They were very clean. The soles had just the slightest signs of yellowing, so I went ahead and threw them in my indoor setup, and now they look basically brand new. I have not thrown these on foot since I picked them up, but you know, I'm just waiting for the white. Just gotta wait for the right time to break these out, because the Concords, man, it is something just a little special. Damn, them boys is clean. But I'm gonna go ahead and set these off to the side so that we can talk about the star of today's video, and that is the Space Jam Jordan 11. So like I said before, I've owned the 2000 retro multiple times. I owned the 2000 retro, and now for the first time ever, I own the 2016 retro. And the reason why I got these is because my 2000 pair was not wearable, and I think I mentioned it earlier, but I finally decided to sell them. And I don't really sell too many of my personal sneakers these days. You know, there was a point in my life where I did like resell and flip shoes all the time. I'm not really at that point in my life no more. So typically when I buy sneakers, it's usually for good, because I intend on wearing it until it fall apart. Well, those did fall apart, and that's just par for the course when it comes to a lot of these retros, especially like the older ones, right? You know, a sneaker that's 25 years old is bound to fall apart. And so I had, you know, the outsole was separated from the midsole was separated from the upper, and I'm probably capable of fixing it on my own, but it's just a lot of work and time and effort that I ain't really feel like putting in. And then, you know, you can get that done by, you know, there's plenty of people out there these days who restore sneakers that can fix separation, but then you got to go through the deal of like, you know, shipping them out and, you know, hoping that you find somebody trustworthy, and then the quality of their work, and then it's a long, arduous process, and it's just like something that could take weeks and hundreds of dollars. And I just like, you know what, man, it's honestly just way less hassle, and just way more efficient, and just more beneficial for me if I just muster up the heart to finally part with them. I sold them on eBay, and then I immediately took that money, turned around, and then bought a pair of the newer retro on eBay with the money that I got from selling them. So it hurt my heart to do that. I felt like I owned a piece of history with having the 2000 pair, but it felt like it didn't do me any good to just have them sitting around. I was never going to fix them, which means I was never going to wear them again. And honestly, even if I did get them fixed, they were too small. You know what I'm saying? I bought those back when I was more comfortable with wearing a size 10.5, but these days I'm buying all my shoes in like a size 11 or 11.5, and these bad boys right here are in fact a size 11, so these should fit me a lot more comfortably. Yeah, let's go ahead and give you guys a look at. I'm sure all of you guys, if you're into sneakers at all, are familiar with what the Space Jam 11 looks like, but this is, like I said, the 2016 retro, so it's a bit different from some of the other pairs. I guess we can start from the outsole and work our way up. You can see that we have a translucent icy outsole that is a bit dirty and a little bit yellow here, but I do have my indoor setup, so I might show you guys exactly what that looks like and toss these bad boys in there, and then you can get the before and after. You know what I mean? But we have this translucent clear outsole, what's normally like a translucent icy clear outsole. Then you have these blue space pods, the white Jumpman. You see that carbon fiber shank plate here. You got that white Phylon midsole, and then here you have the black patent leather, obviously the iconic part of the Jordan 11. And on this pair, it looks like there's a decent amount of like dirt and smudging and smearing, some fingerprints, a couple of light scuffs. But I'm gonna be honest, man, overall, considering that this sneaker is already 9 years old itself, I'd say that they're in pretty great shape, and just with a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of love, I could definitely get these looking back to new. You can see definitely here on the inside some smudging, oil, whatever the case is, but I ain't too worried about that. Like I said, we're gonna clean these bad boys up and they're gonna look brand new. Then you have like that ballistic nylon mesh all throughout the upper, and then the thick black rope laces that kind of look like a basketball net. And then here on the tongue tag, you can see that it says Jumpman Jordan. Now these are some of the differences between this and some of the older pairs, or I should say the oldest pair, the pair that I just had. On the 2000 retro, the tongue tag here actually says Jumpman Jam. I think I showcased that in the Concord 11 video. But on the 2009 retro and the 2016 retro, it actually says Jumpman Jordan. And then the other biggest and most noteworthy difference is that on the back, there's actually a 45, which is also stitched in, as opposed to a printed on 23 like the 2000 retro and the 2009 retro had, if I could get that to focus. I'm gonna be honest, I prefer the 23, but what I do really like about the 45 on this is that it is stitched. Matter of fact, let me grab the Concords. It's interesting as well, because on the Concords, when they brought these back, I think this was also the same year, right? The Concords also released in 2016. I can't believe they dropped Space Jams and Concords in the same year, by the way. That's nuts if that's actually what happened. Let me check the production dates on this. No, the Concords came out in 2018, so I'm bugging a little bit. That actually makes way more sense. But it makes less sense when it comes to the 45, because when you look at the Space Jams and the Concords, right? So the Concords released 2 years later, but if I could get it to focus, the 45 on the Concords is actually like screen printed on, I think, the same way that it's done on like all the other Jordan 11 retros that have like the 23. Whereas on the Space Jam, it's actually like stitched, which means it's of, you know, higher quality, it's more durable, it's gonna last longer, it's not gonna like crack and peel and fade off. The 11s these days don't really seem to have that issue, but some of the older ones are definitely, well, it's weird, right? The 2000 Space Jams and like the 2001 Cool Grays, they had like that printed on 23, and those tended to last a long time, right? Like my 2000 pair still had the 23 perfectly intact, a couple of little cracks here and there, but it wasn't really like peeling off or fading off. When you get later down the line to like the 2008 Countdown Pack pair, had it the worst. Those 23s would just like fade and rub completely off. The 2009 Space Jam, same thing would happen. The 2011 Concords, like from like 08 to like 2011 ish, so that would be like the Countdown Pack breads, the 09 Jams, the 2010 Cool Grays, the 2011 Concords. Those 23s would crack, peel, and fade and like come off completely, especially the CDP breads. Those had it the worst by far. And then as time went on, you started to get to some of the later retros from like 2016 and onward. They were printed on, but they tend to last a while and not really have too much issue. Like I said, these are from 2018, so they're 7 years old, and there's like no signs of any cracking, peeling, or fading at all on this 45. And if I even pull out, let me just grab a random pair of 11s. Like here's another random pair. I believe this is the Win Like 82. Yeah, these are the Win Like 82 Jordan 11. So it's this like white, navy blue kind of UNC colorway. These also have like that printed 23 on the back, and again, perfect condition, no cracking, peeling, fading, or whatever. Granted, you know, I also keep most of my kicks in immaculate condition, so these are still practically brand new themselves, which I haven't had these since release. This is another shoe that I picked up at some point off eBay, and you know, I've kept them pretty clean. That's neither here nor there. Back to the Space Jams. These are looking pretty great, man. I think low-key what I'm actually gonna do is take y'all over to my little workstation over there and show you guys the process of what I do when I get a pair of shoes like this that are in good shape, but they need a little bit of elbow grease, they need to be clean, they need to be disinfected. And I'll even show you me throwing them into my indoor setup to reverse oxidization and getting the soles back as icy as I possibly can. I'm gonna have those sitting there overnight, and y'all can see the before and after. So we'll get a good hard look at them right now. You know what I'm saying? This is what the shoe's looking like at the moment, and let me actually make sure I take some pictures so we can get a nice little before and after. But yeah, let me go ahead and take y'all to the little station, man, and we can see how we can get these things back popping. All right, so now we're down here in the bathroom where I do all of my sneaker cleaning. I decided to do a voiceover for this just because I think it's easier that way. But you can see I got all types of brushes and cleaners and suede stain repellents and all types of stuff. But we got the shoes here, and they're not in bad condition at all. I actually said that they're in pretty good shape. but especially on the inside on the patent leather, you can see they got all types of like smearing and smudges and stains, oil, whatever, fingerprints, whatever, some type of residue. You know, the bottoms is they decently clean, all things considered, the bottom of a 9-year-old sneaker, but they could definitely look even better than they already do. So that's what we're gonna do here today. Like I said, just a little bit of tender love and care, and I think we're gonna get these things looking basically brand new. So first things first is I turn on the water, let that heat up a little bit, and while that's heating up, I'm gonna go ahead and take the laces out of the shoes. And then what I do is, in my little plastic bowl that I have, I throw the laces into that bowl and I kind of let them soak in the warm water with a little bit of the sneaker cleaner while we clean the shoes. So I'm gonna take the laces out of both shoes, fill the bowl up with some warm water, and then to that bowl of warm water we take our Rejuvenator cleaner, which, by the way, I prefer Rejuvenator, but you can really use whatever you want. But I throw a couple of squirts of the Rejuvenator in the bowl, and yeah, I've used all different types of cleaners throughout my sneaker collecting life, whether that be Jason Mark, Rejuvenator, Dawn dish soap, Tide laundry detergent. I've used it all, and this is kind of just what I lean toward these days. Also, you saw me taking some pictures on my phone there of the shoes before we get to cleaning. But next, we're also going to take the insoles out of these shoes, because we are going to try to clean and disinfect every part of the shoe, giving you one last look of how dirty the patent leather actually is on these, because it didn't show up too well on the stream setup. But back to the sink. First, we're going to take the Rejuvenator soft bristle brush. That's what I'm going to use for the majority of the cleaning here. Dip it into our warm water and sneaker cleaning solution. Let the majority of the water drain out of the brush. Give it a couple of shakes, and then basically just start scrubbing away at the upper. The soft bristle brush, as well as the Rejuvenator sneaker cleaner, is safe to use on like almost all materials. So we're just going to scrub away here on the nylon mesh and that patent leather. And these shoes are black, and they're in pretty good condition, so it's not like a whole lot of dirt was showing on the surface anyway. But this is going to clean them up real good. And then what I'm going to do after I've scrubbed them for a while is take the Rejuvenator microfiber cloth and actually go ahead and wipe these down. I feel like I'm talking like this video is sponsored by Rejuvenator. It's definitely not, but hey, if they ever want to hit your boy up, let me know. We'll gladly take that. My current bottle is running a little bit low, but you see the results for yourself. The sneaker was all dirty and smudgy, at least on the patent leather, and now they shine and glistening, looking real good. But what I'm just gonna do next is go ahead and give them another cleaning on the outside. Not entirely necessary, but just something I'm gonna do for myself anyway. And basically what you're gonna see is that I'm gonna end up repeating this process entirely on the other sneaker, but just going over the shoe one more time. And then what we're also gonna do once we finish scrubbing this sneaker is, of course, wipe it down once again, and then also make sure that we scrub the inside of the shoe as well. Obviously, the inside matters just as much as the outside when you're talking about a pre-owned sneaker. Somebody else has worn these, their feet have been in the shoe, so you want to make sure that you clean that and disinfect it as best as you can. So here I am cleaning the sock liner as well as the tongue of the shoe, and that's also why we remove the insoles, so that we can clean, disinfect those as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, I don't mind like thrifting or buying things secondhand or pre-owned, but we do want to make sure that we are as clean as possible with things when we're dealing with stuff like that. And to add to that, we're gonna go ahead and break out the Lysol. See, I went and grabbed that from underneath the sink. We're gonna go ahead and spray down the shoe after we've wiped it down with the microfiber cloth, all up inside that, just so we can disinfect as much as possible with the Lysol. You know what I'm saying? And again, we're gonna do this on both shoes. But next, we're gonna move on to the outsole, and here on the outsole, you can see I'm taking the stiff bristle brush and just scrubbing pretty firmly. These weren't too terribly dirty to begin with, but even still, a little bit of grime in between some of the patterns, I guess you could say, on the outsole, but just trying to get rid of as much of that as possible, and just get them back looking as icy as they can. And then here in the next scene, you can see, just go ahead and run them under the water. Just you could wipe them down with the cloth, and I guess save a little bit of water, but I don't leave the tap running for too long. It's just quicker and easier that way. Go ahead, wipe it down with the cloth just to dry them off. Water is actually part of what can speed up the oxidization of these soles, so you want to keep them as dry as possible. That's why people don't typically wear icy sole sneakers in the rain. But here you can see the left shoe is the one that was just clean. The right shoe is the one that has not been cleaned yet. And you can already see a decent little difference in the outsole. Like I said, they weren't too terribly yellow in the first place, but it already made a world of difference. That being said, we're gonna move on to the right shoe and just basically repeat everything that we just did, from scrubbing the outsoles, the patent leather, the nylon, giving these a nice cleaning, wiping them down with the microfiber cloth, making sure that we clean out the insides as well. The whole nine, everything that we just did on the left shoe, we're gonna go ahead and repeat that entire process on the right shoe. Wipe down the insides again, all over again, and then of course, once again, hit those with the Lysol as well. And then after we've done all that, we're gonna take our shoelaces and go ahead and get those between both of our hands after they've been soaking in that water, and just kind of scrub them just as if you wash your hands. And what this is gonna do is get a lot of the dirt that's out of those. Go ahead, run under the water a little bit so you can get rid of all the soap and the dirt. And then my little pro tip here, you know what I'm saying? If you didn't know how to basically dry your shoelaces, you could throw them in a dryer, I guess, but you could also just do this where you take your towel, or at least like the towel like I'm using, and what you're gonna want to do is grab one end of the shoelace, so grab one aglet, and then pinch the towel between your fingers and like pull the shoelace through the towel. I mean, I can show you better than I can tell. You see exactly what I'm doing right here, so you know what I'm saying? You just pull the shoelace through the towel and then just get, transfer over just a little bit to a more dry part of the towel, and just repeat that whole little process right there, and that'll wring out the majority of the water in the laces. Next, we move on to the insoles. So what I'm going to do here first is I take a lint roller and I try to get any like hair or dust or loose fibers or whatever I can off the insoles. A lot of times I'll also like brush the insole with like the medium bristle brush to like knock off any like surface dirt or anything like that. And then what we're going to do after we've lint rolled them is basically take the soft bristle brush, the same brush that we use on the uppers and the insoles, and just kind of scrub away at that just the same way that we did with the shoe. Nice circular motions with the warm water and sneaker solution, and just scrub the entire insole. Then after that, I just kind of run it into the water a little bit just to rinse out all of that soap. And then obviously the insole is going to be soaking wet, but very similar. It's similar enough to how we dried out the shoelaces. We're going to go ahead and pat these down here on the bath towel, and that's going to get a lot of that moisture out so that those can dry up real nice and good. You can see it's kind of soaking wet there. But what I end up doing is that I'll just lay the insoles face down, kind of push them in to the bath towel a little bit, try to like push out some of that moisture, and then I'll just end up flipping the bath towel over and just kind of smacking at it a little bit just to like pound out some more of that moisture. And then I go ahead and hit those with the Lysol as well. You know what I'm saying? Once we've done all of that, my last little like finishing touch, other than like tackling outsoles, is go ahead and taking this rotating brush that I have and hitting it with some mink oil. Now the mink oil, what that's going to do is not only shine and buff the patent leather, but it also like conditions the leather as well. But this is what's going to help me get that. I mean, like I said, the patent leather is already in pretty good shape, especially after we cleaned it. This is just going to add to that glossy finish, make it look a little bit better, make it last a little bit longer, make it smell nice too. Personally, I think the mink oil has a nice little refreshing smell to it. But you see him shining. You see him shining. Look like tuxedo fresh right there. But yeah, man, so I just go ahead and hit this. This brush is just some random like $15 brush I got off Amazon. It comes with like a couple of different attachments. One is more like a buffing brush, the other one's more like a suede brush. But the proof is in the pudding. You see the results, man. This is what they look like after we done cleaned them and shined them and buffed them, and hey man, they looking practically new. Shee, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. I know you see it glossy, glistening and shining, and yeah, they cleaned up nice. They cleaned up real nice. So as you can see, after just a little bit of TLC, just a little bit of elbow grease, they look even better than before. And like I said, they already look good to begin with. Plus the Space Jams are obviously a mostly black sneakers, so you gotta dog them out pretty bad for them to look crazy. But that patent leather looking oh so scrumptious. But we're actually not quite finished, because as great as these look, they could look even better. I mean, they look pretty damn good. They almost look new, almost. But that outsole, as you can see, there is still some signs of yellow in there. And well, what better way to wrap up this video than by throwing them in the indoor setup and then letting you guys see what they look like after sitting in there overnight under the UV light. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, wrap these up, throw them in the setup, and I'll see y'all momentarily. Hey, now go ahead, take a look at that. Now this is a 2016, so that's a 9-year-old shoe, so they ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? They ain't back to crispy, super icy blue like the Concords got, because those a couple of years younger and they were in even better shape than these were to start out with. But all things considered, I'd like to think that these turned out pretty good after a few hours in the ice box with a hyperbolic time chamber or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, man, that is a pretty crispy pair of 2016 Space Jam 11s, and I am very happy to have these in the collection. Now I have a wearable pair of Space Jams, because as much as I love my 2000 pair, man, I couldn't wear them. Not only because that they were separating, but also because they were too small. But now I have a cleaner, newer pair in my size that I can actually rock. And I low-key might have to throw these on foot ASAP. I ain't gonna lie. It's funny too, because like when I get like a pre-owned sneaker in, after I clean them up, disinfect them, everything, like I did with these right here, I'm normally excited to throw them on like right away. They might be the first shoe I grab and throw on, whether it's to go run to Target or go do some other errands, run to the post office, whatever the case is. But when I get it like a brand new shoe, it takes me months, even years sometimes to break them out. I don't know, man. I've talked about this before, but I guess it's because like I feel like if I'm wearing a shoe for the very first time, like it's got to be on some sort of like occasion. It don't got to be like a birthday or a holiday or, you know, like a party or anything like that. But like I want to be doing something, whether that's going on a date with shorty, going out of town to a tournament or a convention with the homies, or whatever the case is, right? Just doing something that's more than just me like running errands. But once they've been worn that first time, or in the case of a sneaker like this, if they've already been worn before, I'll throw them on to go do whatever. Like it really don't matter. I'll throw them on to go check the mail, you know what I'm saying, or go to the gym, whatever the case is. But yeah, man, I'd like to say that these turned out pretty damn good. Like I said, it was already clean to start off with, but now they look even better, and they're in prime rocking form. And you see that the ankle collar looking a little glossy there, because I might have gone ahead and shined the patent leather a little bit more, and then hit the leather ankle with some mink oil as well, just to condition the leather and everything like that, after I did take these out of the ice box. But yeah, man, I'm very excited to add these to the collection, and even more excited to get them on foot. Yeah, let me know how y'all feeling, what y'all thinking. Are you a fan of the Space Jams? Where do these rank in your all-time J's and on your list of Jordan 11 colorways? But that's gonna do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content that I'm bringing you. But with all that being said, that's pretty much all I have today. Remember, let the capital swing the bat. Later.